We're working on the tiny house again this week. We're hoping to have it done here in the next couple of weeks. And a big step that we have to take care of this week is the plumbing.
Sounds like a big chore for a tiny house, but once it's broke down into like simple tasks, it's really quite easy. So this is how we're planning on doing our tiny house. You have a water fill hatch, and that's on the outside of your tiny house. And then inside you have a water tank storage. This is a 42-gallon tank that we put in here. On this water fill hatch, we also have another line that comes in that's for basically a city fill. If you wanted to hook this up to water all the time, like you were parked next to somebody that had a well pump and a pressure tank, you could set this up and bypass the water tank that's on board. So kind of set up both ways. So you have a water tank, and then the water comes in to your pump. It has a one-way check valve, so the water can only go one way. And then as it comes out of the filter, you'll have your clean water coming out of your filter, and then you'll have a line that goes and feeds your hot water heater, and then you'll have this supply line which feeds the shower, the laundry, and the kitchen sink. Hot water heater, you'll have your hot water that comes out of there and supplies everything else, your shower, your laundry, and your kitchen sink. We put in a couple of valves, and that way if you were to hook it up, you can shut a valve here on the pump, on the back side of the pump, open this valve, and then it'll force water through the filter and work exactly like a system would in a normal house. There's a drain, and on that drain there's another valve there, so you can drain the bottom of this tank. And then also when you fill it from the outside, you have an overflow so that you know that your tank's full.
The first step that we have to do is build a raised floor to put the tank and the P-traps for the shower and the kitchen underneath. Because we live in Alaska, those things have to be inside the tiny house. We can't, normally you would just put them underneath your tiny house trailer. We can't do that up here. We did it in such a way that we could maximize the space underneath to create more storage opportunities for the homeowner.
First thing is getting all your fixtures set in the right place, and then you can start running some pipe. We have our fresh water holding tank, which is going to be underneath the floor here, and then we're putting in a 120 volt pump, and then we have a filter here. So we're basically plumbing this tank in. We're going to come into the pump. Out of the pump, it's going to come over here and feed this filter, and then out of the filter, then we'll be able to feed to our hot water heater and all over the appliances, shower, sink, washer and dryer, and from there. So basically just getting the rough end done. Now I just need a T here, and we added in this city water connection, which will actually tie into city water or a well tank. So the PEX cut's real easy, and then they have these little crimps here, these stainless steel crimps which crimp on, and they're very nice because you know, they're real easy to do. Put it on there, tighten, and that is crimped, this one. Obviously we got to go ahead and finish all the rest of them, but that just gives you a quick idea how quick and easy to make a crimp. I'm going to go ahead and put the shower head in here, and then we got the mixing valve that's got to go in. So we'll get these two drilled out, put them in place, and tie the pipes in. Went ahead and mounted it, so now we're going to go ahead and put this through. Now I just got to go ahead and tie this line in and finish tying it in here. And then I got the hot and cold that need to be tied in here. That should be ready to go for being pressure tested. But as you can see, you just kind of line it up. They make a tool here for cutting. Now that is our main line coming from our mixing valve. So you'll have a hot and a cold that comes into the mixing valve, and you'll be able to control what temperature comes out of the shower head. So we got the plumbing done. I just want to show you a few things about this plumbing that we did on this tiny house and how it's accessible, and also if you ever do have a problem with it, it's not something you have to rip the whole bathroom out to fix. So as you can see, we got our water pump here. If this pump ever goes bad, you pull it out, you go ahead and you put those these fittings back on, and it's that easy. It could take 5 minutes to replace your pump. We have the filter here, so it's easy. You can come in here, spin it off, replace the filter, put it back on. We have our city water that comes in here. So if you ever wanted to come in here and have your city water on, you would turn that valve on, and the one that comes from the pump, you would turn this one off. And so basically it feeds into your filter, works like a normal house. So really simple to do. When we went and put this in, I was like, man, what happens if the tank ever goes bad? It should never go bad, but worst case scenario, say something has to be done and you need to get in here and do it. Well, this 2x4 comes off right here, and then you can undo all these plumbing fittings right here, and that tank will slide completely out of this hatch, and you can get a new one and slide it in. Worst case scenario, I'm just saying, maintenance wise, something to think about when you're actually doing your tiny house. Hooking up the heating source for this tiny house. It's a Laser 300 made by Toyo. Puts out about 15,000 BTUs, and I think it'll work quite well for this tiny house. It runs on diesel fuel. We've just had this little, it's an oil electric heater, and this has been going for us doing construction here, and the last 2 days it's been 30 below outside. It's obviously not 70 degrees in here, but it's keeping it at probably 50 degrees, which I think is quite well for a little electric heater like that. But we've mounted this to the wall. The last thing to do, we have to bring in a fuel line right here, and what that is just a copper line that comes in and feeds the stove. It's just a gravity fed system, so the tank has to be 16 inches taller than this, and so it'd be nice to have where we have a tank built on the outside, but something that can be removed very easily for transport if you want to take it down the road, but can easily be put back on.
Well, thanks for watching our video this week. It was a huge step to get all the plumbing done, and we're really excited to start working on the interior finish.
See you next week.